Hi, I'm Doug, and welcome back to another episode of Shaping Lives. Today, I want to straighten out some online conspiracies about the isolation sites. Now please, think rational and logical, because you'll hear those two words a lot in my videos. People online know that conspiracies get the views. They know that lies and rumors spread faster than the truth, which is why it may take longer for my videos to go around, but I'm okay with that. Because I am not here to instill fear into people. I am also not here to lie to anyone for any benefit. So the situation that we are in now, a global pandemic, people at home, please think of other people and think about doing right. Now, when people use the term isolation sites, most people panic. Why? Because you have certain individuals who go online, make videos such as this one, and tell people that concentration camps are coming. To those people, I say, get a grip. Now, right at this moment, I believe most provinces in the country are in a not desperate, but are in an emergency. Not everyone has access to a place to isolate if they are infected with COVID-19. Some people have big families, big households, and if one person tests positive and the rest of the family are fine, a lot of these people have nowhere to go. They have absolutely no one to turn to, and they have no help. So as I said earlier in other videos, I do not advocate for or against the government. I do not work for the government. I just base my videos on the most logical outcome and rational thinking. I want you to imagine you get sick. Where do you go? You go to a doctor. The doctor will tell you whether you can go home or whether you should stay at the hospital for treatment. Well, some people will test positive for COVID-19 and their family won't. So, the government will provide an isolation place or a center where one can go, and I would imagine could still be in daily virtual contact with their family and loved ones and friends. This doesn't mean that they're going to be drug by force to a camp, have all their valuables stripped, and then be tossed into lockup. We are in 2020. Don't believe everything you see online. Don't believe anything you hear and only half of what you see. Now, with that being said, the isolation centers. Some people have a fear that one day they may test positive and think that they are going to have to go to an isolation center. But give it some thought. If you have a place to go, whether it's a cabin or an RV, which is situated in one spot where you do not come into contact with anyone else, and you have supplies, and you are willing to do right, I would like to think that people would just be left alone to isolate, using, of course, the contact tracing. But many people online like to instill fear, because when they do, they know that during an emergency like this, that feeding on people's emotions will get them the views, will get them the dollars, and they don't care about anyone. They will go online, they will talk about how the government wants to kill everyone, and how they're setting up concentration camps, and how they're going to force vaccinate everyone. This is absolutely ridiculous. I would say that we live in a country where people should be grateful for what they have. People should be grateful that there will be a center paid by the government where the infected can isolate and be treated and then return to their family. Now keep in mind, this is for people who have no other choice. They have nowhere to go. They live in a house with the rest of their family. So if they test positive, they will have a place to go, a place to stay, without fear of getting their family sick. You know, they're not concentration camps. Especially with the government that we have in power, right? Equality, you know. So there's nothing that I can say that can reverse the effects of a person who is scared. But what I can tell you is that we live in Canada, and the year is 2020. And we live in an amazing country, where sometimes I wonder why people complain. Why is someone not happy? We literally live in the land of opportunity. We live in a country where people do have rights and freedoms. Sometimes people will twist that online They will commit a crime, and they will film the tail end, somebody being arrested, and then they will say that we do not have rights and freedoms. Everyone in Canada has rights and freedoms, but do not confuse them with privileges. And why? For example, if you test positive for COVID and you refuse to wear a mask, you refuse to isolate, and you walk into a restaurant and you sit at a table next to a family, you could kill someone. So yeah, given that sort of behavior, you may lose your freedoms temporarily. But for people who don't only think about themselves, for people who know that they are not feeling well and isolate, even if it's with their family, and they're not going around other people, people who have respect and a little bit of remorse for others, if you're that type of person, then I think you'll do just fine. But you got to differentiate the two. Some people are using any excuse in the book to give the appearance that they don't have rights or freedoms. Some people will not follow the rules even though they put others in danger. And then you have people who are not sick, and they know they're not sick, and they want to go out. They want to keep up with their activities. They want to exercise outdoors. And I say, if you get a test and you're negative and you're staying away from people, I don't really see anything wrong with that. But that's just my opinion. But once again, off track, but let's get back on topic. So we are going to have places. For example, if I get COVID-19 and my spouse tests negative, well, I'm not going to stay here and take that chance to give it to her, right? I will go to wherever these sites are, and I would get treated, and as soon as I test negative, I would come back home. Not a big deal. If you're sick, you go to the hospital. When you're better, you come home. I would like to say to the conspiracy theorists, stop scaring people. You certainly don't fool me. And I'm thinking that you don't fool many people in my little group. So this all boils back to, be yourself and use your own thinking. If you're sick, stay away from people. If you can't, and you have an emergency, wear a mask. Certainly don't go shopping if you're positive for COVID. You could always have food delivered, you could have medication delivered. I mean, in today's world, you can have anything delivered. And if there's any advice that I could give you, when you're watching these videos, and when you're on YouTube, and when you're checking out the daily news, right? Just remember that the same people who create these conspiracies don't believe it themselves. This is simply to get views and money. I hope that there is something positive that you can take out of this video. I hope that it does ease your mind, because let's face it, there are 40 million people in Canada. And roughly, you know, when you do turn to Google, 40 million people. About 30,000 troops and 60,000 police officers, with a total of 40 million people. Now, do you really think that they are going to start dragging people off and force vaccinating, or trying any kind of force, period? I don't think so. So, putting thought behind that, you know, as I said, we're in a country where this is being provided. Many countries don't have it, right? Some countries, I mean, you test positive, you're on your own. You go out back and live in the garbage bin until you test negative or die. But we do live in a country where isolation centers may be provided for those who are infected, so they don't get their family sick. So instead of being afraid of that, which is alright, I mean, a lot of people are afraid of the unknown, but for people who have ever stayed in a hospital, I'm guessing it's going to be pretty much the same thing. It's nothing to worry about. The only thing that I would worry about in a COVID isolation center would be mutation of the virus within the center. Maybe you have one strain, maybe the person in the next room has a different strain, right? We don't know. But given the fact that they are provided to the public, you know, that's good to start with. And if we could move it along a little faster to get the vaccine, well, those sites probably won't even be used. And to those who ever have to go to one, you know, don't panic. Don't be afraid. You know, take your telephone, your charger, some alcohol swabs, some hand sanitizer. Stay in contact with your family. But don't be afraid. As I said, I hope that you take something away from this video. And I hope that you sit down after you watch my video and really think about it, you know. Think about where we're at and your experiences in life. And, you know, these conspiracies just drop. Don't watch them. Don't watch them. Don't even give them a minute of your time. Because once you put the idea or the ideology out there, it can really mess with someone's mind. So be logical, people. Be logical. And I hope that I see you on the next one. And I really wish that as a species, now more than ever, that we could pull together for a common cause. I doubt it's going to happen, but I stay positive. So for now, I'm Doug, signing off.